there was a question about the percentage chance that the Pac-12 will reach the college football playoff.
Slim to none. I would say that if you are a Pac-12 fan and if you are a USC fan and you're spending time thinking about the playoff, which you shouldn't, let's just not think it's likely to happen. But you want Georgia to destroy the rest of the SEC. Like that. That's the thing you want to see happen. You want Georgia to beat Tennessee. And here's the bigger picture with why root for Georgia, because if you're thinking about the SEC championship game, which a game that often sends, or not often, but has sometimes its outcome has sent two SEC teams into the playoff. So you want the particular SEC championship game outcome that makes the SEC a one bid league in the playoff. And so if you're thinking about that, which team is more likely to beat Alabama in the SEC championship game? I think it's pretty clear that it's Georgia, right? Because Tennessee needed a lot of luck to beat Alabama at home with everything going its way. So if you get Tennessee versus Alabama in a rematch in Atlanta with a more of a 50-50 crowd split, you have to think Nick Saban's going to be up for that rematch. It's going to really tilt the other way. It's not going to be Neyland Stadium. It's going to be a very different vibe, et cetera, et cetera. Alabama, with a really good chance, if not a great chance to win that game. But then you put Georgia up against Alabama. Now, so Georgia's defense against a not that great Alabama offensive line. And, Georgia lost to Alabama in the SEC championship game a year ago. So even though Georgia's the national champion, there is some unfinished business for this Georgia team. And it's played in Atlanta, so Georgia gets the crowd advantage for that game. I would much rather think that Georgia, rather than Tennessee, is the team that can beat Alabama. And so if you beat Alabama in the SEC championship game, what does that do? Alabama's out. Alabama has a second loss. Tide can't do it. The nightmare scenario for USC, the Pac-12, and any other teams trying to get in, like TCU in the Big 12, for instance, the nightmare is Alabama winning the SEC title game, because then Alabama finishes 12-1 as the conference champion, and either Georgia or Tennessee, maybe even both, finish with one loss and become an at-large SEC team in the playoff. That's the nightmare. So really, you want Alabama to lose in the SEC championship game, or frankly, any prior point, but especially the SEC championship game. So Alabama can't be a conference champion that gets that leverage into the field. So that really is the ultimate end game. You want Alabama to lose the SEC championship game. And I think that Georgia is the better bet to deny Alabama than Tennessee.
And really, we're going to get an indication on Tuesday night what the current committee values. We're going to get a lean on that and a peek behind the curtain in regards to what they size up between some intriguing type comparisons. And the comparisons that I will make right now would be the Pac-12 winner, i.e. if it's USC, as a one-loss champion versus a TCU, let's say one-loss champion in the Big 12, and a one-loss Clemson in the ACC, let's say, if South Carolina or Notre Dame's able to knock off Clemson and they still win the ACC, what kind of comparison is that going to look like in the committee's eyes? Again, for me, it's going to be based on resume. So I'm going to go through wins and losses, and I'm going to go through the wins and the losses, the performance on the field, and obviously the opponents, the schedule, and size it all up to determine how I would rank them. But this committee, who knows?